Hey, this is Axis. I wanted to try something new. I recently got a camera, so I thought I'd give it a try. I wanted to expand and start doing some new stuff on YouTube, so let's see if this works, and hopefully I don't break your screen. So let's give this a try. Recently there was an update that Supercell put out, and there were quite a few changes, a lot of changes behind the scenes, a lot of weight changes, and yes, there were changes to the war algorithm. I'm going to split this out actually into two different videos. On this video, I'm going to focus on the weight changes and the additional changes that took place. And then on the second video, I'm going to talk about the war algorithm, because the matchmaking algorithm, because there were quite a few things that were done there. And that way it won't be a very long video. This will be more bite-sized pieces, so I hope this works with you. There were some minor changes in terms of the weights. There's some onesies and twosies that were added here and there, and I'm not going to talk about those. I'm mainly going to focus on the larger ones, the things that really you should really take a note of. If you want to see the onesies and twosies, just take a look at my calculator. And I know the updated calculator is not out yet. I'm still waiting on some updates from some of my translators, but this is the holidays and family does come first, so I do recognize this. So please don't send me the hate mail. It is coming. If I don't receive the translations in a couple of days, I'll just go to Google Translate and get something out there and then update it when I do get them. So I will have something for you in a couple of days, whether it is the true translation or a pseudo translation. Hopefully it makes sense and not something completely off the wall. So let's cross fingers. So in terms of the weights, let's look at the defensive items first. For the Wizard Tower, there were some changes that were made in the upper levels. Kind of, it looks like more of a balancing. The higher ones, some weight was added, not much. The Expo, now this is kind of interesting. It went anywhere from 23 to 50% up in weight, but I noticed that in levels 2 through 4, the middle levels, Town Hall 9 and 10, right around there, it got weaker. The DPS went down, the damage per second went down, so that means that it got weaker and heavier. So that's kind of a double whammy there. That's a little, ouch. Inferno Tower, this is another one that it was rather interesting. It actually went down in weight. Now, of course, you know that you can now heal when the Inferno Tower is hitting you. Before you couldn't, now you can. So it kind of makes sense to bring it down in weight, because it's not as impactful, especially that level 1. Level 1 Inferno Tower is like a bunch of gnats hitting you, so yeah, that one makes sense. This one, not as much, but you know, I'm not going to complain. Sure, that works well. Works for me. And that Eagle Artillery, you know, it is what it is. It's the heavy hitter of all of the defensive items, so you're adding more onto it, so be it. It is what it is. There were a couple of other changes that were made. The army camps, you can now, the Town Hall 11 can now have more in their army camps if they're upgraded. That does not impact the weight at all. It is one of those free items that has no weight, so no problem there. Also, the walls, you can now, the Town Hall 11 can now upgrade 25 extra walls. And I actually have a theory on those walls. I think everyone's been trying to guess when Town Hall 12 is going to come out. My theory is those walls are the barometer of when it's coming close, because it doesn't make sense to add another level at Town Hall 12 until Town Hall 11 can be completely maxed. You can't max it right now because you can only max out 125 of those 300 walls. Start watching those. When you get close to 275, 300, then Town Hall 12 is going to be right around the corner. I'll bet you that's how it's going to be. So I don't think it's going to be 2018. I'll bet you it'll be around 2019, maybe Christmas time around there. We'll see. So it's my theory. I'm sticking to it. Let's take a look at some of the other changes for the weights. Now, I noticed that the Laloon items were hit pretty hard. The balloon went up, not by much, hundreds here and there, from 20 all the way up to 100. Another error, air troop, the baby dragon, went up. Not generally used in Laloon, but it's just another one. Went up. I think this looks more like a balancing because it went up and then down. However, check these out. I'm going to jump all the way down here to the Lava Hound and the Bowler. These are the big eye-openers of what just changed. Do you see the Lava Hound? Whew! Nelly, I have a little picture here. Let me just check this out. The blue is the old weight and the red is the new weight. See how much it went up. Oh my goodness. And here is the Bowler. Same thing, went from small to large. Big change there, really, really big change. For the Lava Hound, it's kind of interesting. It got heavier, and it makes sense. I saw this beforehand. It's a tank troop, and it wasn't really in line with all of the other tanking troops. It was really, really low, and you know, I was loving life on that. But Supercell, they realized that yes, this one needs to get up there as well, and it's got to take its place in line with all of the other tanking troops. Even though it's up in the air, it still does its job, and it does its job well, so it's up there. Thing is, though, that the hit points also increased for the first 3 levels, so that's good. It went up in weight and also went up in hit points, and that works for me, so that's good. This Bowler, whew, man, oh man, look at that. It went up from anywhere from 250% up to 167%. Something else that occurred is that it also got slower. It went from attacking every 1.5 seconds to now it attacks every 2.2 seconds. The damage per attack went up. That means that it got slower. This is a definite eye-opener. So it's still a good troop. Still does its job. Still takes down the double hits, but you know, it weighs a bit more. So be it. In terms of the spells, not many things changed there. The healing, the weights went down on the healing. It looks more like a balancing thing right there. The jump, another balancing. It went up and down. So the haste is another one of those items in addition to the rage that's used in the Laloon, and that went up. So it kind of makes sense that went up. In terms of how this will impact your upgrade order, what I see for that is mainly for the troops, particularly for the Laloon. If you're an air attacker and you hit Town Hall 9, you're brand new in Town Hall 9, don't immediately go for that Lava Hound. Make sure you have everything in place first before you do that. In fact, just hit the ground first and really hone up those ground attacks. Get your go Vaho and go Eva and all those. In fact, go ahead and get that witch in there as well. Upgrade those first and really get good at those 3-star attacks, and then start upgrading, getting the balloon up. Make sure you max that out. Max out your minions if you use that in your Laloon. I do. I like using it as the cleanup troop at the end. Once you have that, then jump and get that Hound. Don't get the Hound until you're ready to carry that weight, until you're ready to use that weight. Once you do it, max it up and head for the skies, and you'll rule the skies. So that's one thing that I noticed in terms of what you should do now for this upgrade order, now that you're going to be hit pretty hard with this Hound. That's about it in terms of the changes for the weights and the additional things. And give it a few days, and I'll put out another video and talk about the war matchmaking algorithm, because there were some changes there that are pretty interesting. So until then, clash on, guys.